back to the channel, everyone. It's Tuesday morning. I'm out here cutting some firewood today. Our pulp markets are completely closed right now. Not really sure how much longer that's going to go on for, but I don't think it's going to resolve itself overnight. So getting a little creative and doing some chasing around in here. Get some of the smaller hardwood out of here that we can get ready for firewood. This firewood in here is real iffy because a lot of it's rotten in the butt, so you got to cut it back a ways, and this wood lot's just got a lot of rotten hardwood in here, but we're kind of forced to take this avenue right now while we can't get rid of pulp. So it takes a little longer to cut a load, but it beats sitting home. Last week I didn't get a video out, but I got a load of hemlock out last week, hemlock logs, a load of hemlock pulp, and a load of hardwood logs. I took a couple of clips last week. I'll throw them up right now. You can check that out. If you go on one of these Timberjacks, I can see why everybody puts a door on them, because I've had two close calls with this thing, so I got to put a door on this within the next week or two. I just had a stick come up and hit me right in the side, so it's just a matter of time before it gets seriously hurt with something coming through the cab. It wouldn't take much to put a door on one of these. But anyways, yeah, I got this hitch of hemlock right here, and I'll set the camera up and we'll see how this new exhaust sounds, and I'll meet you out in the yard. Sounds pretty good. It's a lot more throaty, more of a bark to it. Like, I had a Clark that sounded pretty much exactly the same. It was straight pipe, straight up to the top of the cab. We'll hop up in the cab, take it to the yard to see what it sounds like in the cab. See if it's any different on video. Well, just finished up a load of hemlock logs. It's getting to be the end of the week. It's Thursday, and this is going to do it for me this week. Got some pulp over there from the top, so finish that next week. And that load of hardwood pulp that we had Monday and Tuesday, that got taken out of here. Did get a warning though that some of that was too big. They didn't want to see any more of that. So I guess we won't push it so hard next time. But I got a load of hemlock here, heading up to a local mill. It's just a nice wood miser bandsaw. Yeah, a friend of ours has, but he does a lot of custom sawing, and he got an order of a bunch of 16s. So did my best get him as straight of the stuff as I could find in here. But there should be close to 5,000 feet here. It's good looking hemlock. But anyways, we're in here today picking around, get this load of firewood out. Yesterday I finished up a load of hemlock logs for my own mill. I got some orders coming in, luckily. That'll keep me busy until the wood markets hopefully improve a little bit for this winter. So I got plenty to stay busy with, but I had to do some work on the Timberjack last week, and the exhaust on it started to break down on it. That had the, up on the cab, it had the one of those roof mount mufflers, and the baffle started to come undone and plug up, and I noticed that I was starting to get some smoke coming down in the cab, and some smoke was coming down through the rain. There was a couple of rain holes in the bottom of those mufflers in case rain gets in them, and it was forcing out those. Between that, and then I also noticed it was smoking more than it should. I definitely had a problem. So before I ruined it or made myself sick with smoke, I ended up switching it over. We had the only other avenue is to straight pipe it. So we had to get that whole system. Come around here. See it better this side. So I had to get the whole factory pipe. I didn't have, I don't know if you can see, I didn't have the correct guard up there, the rain guard to that pipe. So I had to make one for now. I kind of want to find the original one, so it's all matching. But I'm having a hard time finding one of those. If anybody knows where there's one of those, I'd gladly buy it. But it's got quite a bit of different tone to it. I don't know if you could tell right there when I was coming by with the hitch from the other videos if it sounds any different. The tone's just a little bit different. It's not really any louder in the cab at all, but it runs a lot better, a lot better. I mean, it was running good, but now I can tell it's like real crisp on the throttle. So anyways, I'm gonna get this firewood out to the yard and I'll catch up with you in a little bit. Well, I just wrapped up doing this load of firewood. The driver only needed about 8 cord, but I got way more than that here. There's some hardwood pulp left over, and he wanted some ash and maple, so he'll pick through and just grab what he wants this weekend. But you can see there's a good charge of it here. I don't know if you can see up and over. Stuff adds up good, it's long. That's what's nice, and you get 2 cuts. I cut about 25 feet long for his truck, so we're getting good 2 cuts. So it adds up nice. We got some people that want to see a little more about these Timberjacks and how they operate. So we'll take a minute while I'm out here and just give a crash course on one. I'll let you know what I know about them. I'm not an expert yet on Timberjacks, but I know enough to get me in trouble, so I'll let you know what I know. This is a 225, about a 1978. This has the Rockwell rear ends under it. Runs 16 930 tires. This has the Hercules winch. Some of the Timberjacks I guess had the option and the newer ones for the Gearmatic, but this is the Hercules in this one. The machine's pretty much identical to a 230, other than from what I understand is the axles and housings are just narrower. They call these a narrow track housing. But I'm pretty sure the planetaries and ring and pinion and all that's interchangeable with 230. All the chassis components are the same. This has a 3-cylinder Detroit in it. It's 2-stroke. About 97 horsepower. Not a powerhouse by today's standards, but it does good with all the gear reduction through the planetaries and transmission. It pulls really good. I run single diamond chains year round. Real rocky up here in Maine. I've cut a couple lots where I could have got away with no chains at all, but I just keep them on. A set of chains is a lot cheaper than a set of tires when it comes to rocky terrain, so I keep them right on. Let's see. We'll go right up to the cab and starting here. There's not much with one of these, but at the first glance, All the levers can be a little intimidating when you're in here. This machine has all the decals still, so it makes it real convenient. You got your fuel shut off here. That's how you turn the engine off on one of these. Start. Got your front dozer blade up and down. Steering left and right. Winch in and out. Right here we got a 4-speed transmission. It's a straight 4-speed. What they do is they run a reverser in front of it, so you have essentially 4 different reverse speeds, which is nice. Next in line is your transfer case, neutral, high and low. I only use low gear and neutral for winching in. I guess you could use high gear if you wanted to team her down to the corner store and get a coffee, but I've never put it in high gear. Right here is a hand throttle. I use that during the winter, put it on a high idle, warming up, works great for that. Other than that, I don't use it for anything. Emergency handbrake. Pedal layout's the same as any standard automobile. You know, you got your brake, your clutch, you got your clutch, brake, throttle. There's a little compartment door here. That's where they keep the batteries under. What I like about these Timberjacks is they got this lubrication manifold right here, so it makes it easy to get all the hard to reach pins and whatnot. My old Clark was a pain. You always had to get covered from head to toe just to grease it. Having this kind of makes me grease it even more than I normally would, which I usually grease quite a bit. Center pins, you still have to just go right directly in them, but that's nothing. We'll come back into the cab in a second, but go back here. Again, this is the Hercules winch. I put a new main cable on a couple weeks ago. At the same time, I had put new bearings in my fair lead rollers, but I run a 9/16 wedge cable. It's a 5/8 standard cable, and they run it through a machine that processes it and crimps it right down to a 9/16. A lot smoother. I guess the longevity is much better. Anyways, you got a transfer case right here that sits in the back half of the machine. All the lever in the cab does is has a linkage. It comes up to the transfer case here and puts it into neutral. So kind of how the drivetrain works on these is you come off it comes off your transmission in the front that's connected to the engine. It's got a short shaft that comes through the center of the machine. Come into the center here. This is the shaft that's coming from the transmission. There's a pillow block up here, and then they run this short shaft here for the center section, which has your universals on it for articulating. That shaft right there is your power into the transfer case. Once into the transfer case does kind of what it says. It transfers power. So it's got a shaft down low that goes to the rear end and then to the front end. If you look down here, you'll see the second shaft right here, which goes back forward and runs the front end. Your PTO up top, that runs the winch. To winch in one of these, there's 2 different scenarios. To winch in sitting still, you have to place a transfer case in the neutral, select a gear, usually it's first or second, and then you can come up to the control in the dash and winch in, and that allows you to winch in stationary without the tires moving. Or if you are rolling or under power driving, as long as the wheels are turning, that means the top shaft of the PTO is turning, your winch, and then all you have to do is engage power to the clutch pack and the winch, and you can winch on the fly as long as the tires are moving. Pretty simple machine and mechanics, but that's how the drivetrain works in a nutshell. Yeah, my camera died right in the middle of that, so I had to switch over to the GoPro. But that's pretty much the gist of one of these 200 series Timberjacks. And if anybody wanted to know something a little more, leave me a comment. I'd be glad to try to answer your questions or show you something else on it. But that's gonna do it for today. And I want to thank just wanted to thank all the new subscribers. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.